By the end of this video, you will learn how to do portraits like this, or like this, or like this. I'm even gonna give you the file so that you can play around with it and do your own creation. My name is Serge Remedy. I am a French photographer from the amazing, the incredible city of Paris, France. But right now I live in the United States of America. Okay, so how did I do this? Well, so you can see here how I did the shoot, and you have all the gear under this video. I use a very simple softbox with a very simple background to light my subject. Meet Shreya Chauhan. She's a Bollywood star, and she asked me to take some portrait of her, and I had this idea. I was like, I can't go to India, but what if we use AI to bring India to me? So I'm gonna show you some of the behind the scenes here, as you can see how I shot it, and this is some of the results. So I'm gonna give you all the files. You can download all the files that we're using for this tutorial. In fact, I'm gonna challenge you to try to recreate the same thing. So let me reset this. So this is the original raw file. You can see I've got a little beauty dish from my good friend Joel Grimes. And then I have a flash, a very nice flash that I'm using. And here she is, very simple background. The reason why I use this background, I was like, oh, maybe I can also use it to take like studio photo of her. Why not? And so I'm just gonna do a basic retouching. I think I'm just gonna take the white balance and I'm just gonna go here and click on the V flat to make her skin tone pretty cool. Usually what I do is I do like a basic retouching in Lightroom. I open the shadow, bring down the highlights a little bit. I don't go as hard. I do my black point, my white point. One thing that is important is, just very basic retouching. You go here and you select, it's gonna go detecting people. I'm gonna click here on people, and I just wanna make her skin better. We always like a good skin, so I'm gonna select the facial skin, the body skin. I like to start in Lightroom and finish in Photoshop. I think the eyes, I'm gonna select the eyes also. With teeth, we don't see very much, and the lips. Okay, I'm gonna say create 5 separate masks, boom. And it's very simple. I'm just gonna take, I wish it would put the name here. So what is that? So that's the lips. You see, that's the lips. All I'm gonna do is add saturation on lips to make them a little more red, like that. All right, what is that? This is the eyes. So that's really the pupil. I'm gonna make the pupil a bit brighter to make your eyes pop a little bit, not too much. You don't want her to look like a cat. Okay, what is that? And that's the eye itself, just a little bit on the eye. All right, and then I'm gonna go here. Body skin, usually what I do is just I make it a bit brighter and I add a bit of minus clarity on the body skin. Very simple retouching, nothing fancy. I actually have preset that does that automatically, but since I'm doing a tutorial, I want to show you everything. Everything! And if you stay until the end, I'm gonna give you a really cool tip. I'm gonna give you a tip, a life-changing tip on the business of photography at the very end. So on this one, I'm gonna go minus clarity and a little bit of exposure. I miss the exposure on the face, just a little bit like that. Okay, cool. I think I want to lower the overall exposure here. She's a little too bright. Let's make the photo a bit darker. And then, you do whatever you want. Maybe a bit more blue, a bit more warm. Let's go maybe a little bit more warm. Okay, cool. So now I did my basic retouching. I'm ready to go to Photoshop. And so I'm going to right click, edit, and I'm going to go edit Adobe 2024. So here we are in Photoshop. So now what I'm going to do is I always do 2 things. The first thing that I do is I go to a filter, neural filter, to smoothen her skin even more. I love this skin smoothing here. You might have to download it. It's a one-trick pony. You just click on that and it's gonna make the skin super smooth. Super smooth, and boom. Okay, so now that's done. What I want to do is I want to bring a background, and for that, I'm gonna go to Midjourney. So the original background, I found this photo on the web from a National Geographic photographer, which I really love. And so I took the address here, and then I put the address here in Midjourney, and I said, with nobody there, I wanted nobody there, a shaft of light inside of the palace, shot on the Sony a7R5. You don't care about that. Well, let me redo it. So let's say you find a photo on the web that you really like. So you take the address, okay? And then you go to Midjourney, and if you don't know how to use Midjourney, I have a video on how to use Midjourney. It takes 5 minutes to install. And then all you do is type in /imagine, and then you put that photo as a reference, and you say, shot on a Sony a7R5 at 24 millimeter, ultra detailed, for example. And then -AR, so -AR is just for the aspect ratio. I want a 16:9, so it's 16, 2 points and 9. You just have to remember this. And then boom. And sometimes you have some weird result. You can click here. I only like this one, but like this one is putting a camera. This is putting like a weird person in it. So actually the line that I use to get the photo that I want, you see all that, I've been testing a lot of different backgrounds, a lot, as you can see, a lot. But the one I really like, look at this one, they're beautiful. This one is beautiful, but I really like this one. I said, so I'm going to copy this. With nobody there, a shaft of light inside of the palace, shot on a Sony a7R 24. So this gets out automatically. Okay, I'm just going to copy that. And let's redo it again. So imagine, boom. So I'm going to, that is -V 5.2 is just the version. And the S, I don't know, I think stands for seeds. It makes it like a random, a seed is basically like, if you change the seed, it's going to give you a different result. And now this is much better. Actually, let's maybe use this one here. I love this photo. So you see there is 4 photos, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's, what we're going to do is we're going to upscale this one. So you can see here you have U means upscale 1, upscale 2, upscale 3, upscale 4. V1 is make a variant of 1, make a variant of 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to upscale 3 for now. And what that's going to do is make it bigger, okay? But then I have the option to make a very strong. I really like the composition of having the lady there, and we have like a shadow. Maybe we're going to reuse a shadow. Now, I don't like any of the variation. They are pretty boring. I mean, they're nice, but I don't like it. I think I like this one better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say upscale 4. Upscale 4 is going to make it 4 times bigger, and it's going to give me a good resolution. Now, I think for this tutorial, I rather use what I had done originally because I think this one is better. So this one I've already upscaled. So you click on the image, you right click, save image. So I've already done this. So let's go back to Photoshop. And then I'm going to open the image, file open. And again, I'm giving you the image below. Okay, and you can see here, if you go to image size, the resolution is pretty good, 5,000 by 3,000. So that's pretty good, 5,800. And then this image is image size, let's see here, 6,000. Okay, it's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image and I'm going to drag and drop it onto the other image. I'm going to drag and drop it here. Boom. And you see it changed the color because the profile is different, but actually it made it more red, and I kind of like it. So I'm going to make it slightly bigger like this. You can hold on the option key to make it bigger. Yeah, I'm going to center it. So I know I got about 6,000 pixel wide, which is enough for what I want to do. And then, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put her on top like this. And I'm going to take the quick selection tool here. And you see you've got 2 options, select subject and select a mask. You got to do both. So you click on select subject, and that's going to make a selection of that. Well, of that too, but I don't really care, but that's fine. And then I'm going to go to select and mask. And on select and mask, make sure here on the right side, you use on layer so I can see what it's going to look like behind the lady. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Oops. You can zoom in here, click here on zoom. I want to see. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to click Smart Radius. Smart Radius is going to make sure that the contour is really cool. If you've got something funny in the hair, I mean, the hair is actually, look at this. I mean, it's getting so much better. What you can do is you can take the hair, the refined brush here. It's going to pick up all the small hair. It's pretty cool. And usually it does a good job. One thing that I do is I always smooth my extraction so that it's not like cut out too much, and I lower a little bit the edge. That's the only two things I do to make my cutout pretty good. Okay, I like that. And then I'm going to put it into a layer mask so that it's already in the layer mask, and click OK. And so here we are. So let's zoom out. Okay, so now let's position her where we want her. So she's a little too big. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to hold on the switch, the key here. I want to make her, no, a little bit bigger than that. I want to use that shadow maybe. Let's see if we can use that shadow, which would be cool. Shadow is one of the hardest things to do. Now, I actually want to put her here. I want to put her here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this layer off. And you see this? How do we get rid of this? It's fine. You click on this. And remember, a layer in Photoshop, black conceals, white reveals. So if I take a little brush, okay, and I right click and I make the hardness at 0, for example, and I press D for the default colors, D for default, X to get black as a foreground color, and then making sure the opacity and flow is 100%. I'm just going to brush this away. Okay, perfect. Now we have a problem. Is I want to get rid of her. She is too big. Let's make her smaller. Let's make her a little bit bigger. I kind of like the yellow over the white, and so what we can do is position her here, and we're going to use some of that shadow maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her off for now, and on this one, I'm just going to press L. I'm going to make a big selection of her, like that, and I'm just going to click Generate to erase her. And boom, I got 3 choices. 1, 2, 3. I like 2 because it's got a bigger shadow, so I'm going to keep that. It took her out, and now I can bring her back. And boom, it's already pretty good. Now, you see there's something weird here in her hair, so that's fine. You can click on the mask. So one thing I do to correct my mask is I take a brush, always. I make it very small, and I always make the hardness around like 70 or 80, okay? And then I take black as a foreground color. Well, in this case, actually white as a foreground, so I'm going to press X. And you see here, I'm going to bring back some of her hair there, and I'm going to look at the cutout. Cutout looks just fine. It looks great. The cutout, oh, except here, you see, we have a big problem. So how do you call it? Well, same thing with this brush. And one thing that's important is you have to create cutout at 500%. You can see here it says 500%. And now it's going to take a while, and press X, and I'm just going to go and cut out. Actually, you know what? This might actually work. No, because we need this as a shadow. So it's fine. I'm just going to cut that out. And when you do it at 500%, the good thing is usually you're pretty precise. You're like really at the pixel level, you know. And okay, so the cutout is good. So now this is the part where I'm not really an expert. It's the shadows, but I'll show you what I find works good for me. So I'm going to use some of that shadows. I'm going to recreate a shadow. So how do I do it? So for the shadow, step number 1, what is that? Oh yeah, that's the, okay, I can blend that. Command E to blend that together. Okay, so for the shadow, I'm going to create a layer that I'm going to call shadow. Shadow. Then I'm going to click Command, or if you're on Windows, Control, to get her selection. And I'm going to press D to get black as my main color. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to fill, and I'm going to fill with black. Okay, I'm filling this with black. So now I have a shadow here which is black. Okay, I'm going to go to Select, Deselect. So I'm not selecting anything. And now, mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, or Command T if you like shortcuts. Okay, and now let me zoom out a little bit. Actually, before I do that, so zoom out. So Z and Alt to zoom out. I'm going to press a Command key on a Mac, and I'm just going to drag that point here and drag that point there. And then I'm going to try to max the shadow. There's already a shadow there. So let's match that. And with the Command key, you can basically select all the points. which is kind of cool. And then I'm going to match that. I'm going to match that. The shadows should be under her. Okay. I'm going to match that even more. And you do your best at first. Voila. I think the shadows a bit. I'm going to make it thinner as it goes away. And then bring this back. It's okay. I'd rather have too much shadow here. Then shadow is not my forte, but I'll show you a couple of tricks which works pretty well. And I just follow the original shadow. That's why it was useful to have the original shadow. So the shadow is way too strong. It's not so good. So I'm going to zoom in there, and then I'm going to take basically I'm going to take E for the eraser tool. E for eraser tool, and eraser tool I usually do harness about 80%, 80. Something like that. Yeah, 80. So that it's not too hard. I'm just going to erase this because the shadow is coming from there. Okay. Maybe let's erase that a little. Oops. No. Just this part. Sorry. No. So just this part. So to make a tool smaller in Photoshop, you can press Control and Option and make it smaller. Okay. And then I'm going to shadow goes like that. Okay. Now, that's weird. That's really weird. I just want to take some of the shadow here away. Just this one. So don't hesitate to zoom in. Press E. And voila. I'm going to make it blurry kind of thing, so it's going to be less weird. And you'll see there's different level of shadow. Okay, that's just a first step. Okay, now what I'm going to do, two things. I'm going to lower the opacity so that it blends better. I'm going to lower the opacity here. And we can see the old shadow. You can try to match it, the old shadow. Something like that. All right. Yeah, I might need to erase the old shadow. I just kept it so I had a direction. And now, here's the trick. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to convert to a smart object. Okay. The reason I do this is if you look at the original shadow, if you look at the original shadow, you can see here the shadow is actually sharper here, and as it goes away, it becomes more blurry, okay? So shadows are always like that. They're sharper from where they start. So I want to do that. So, and that's why I made a smart object, and you understand why. Because then I can go to Filter, I can go to Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I'm going to make maybe like 7 or 8 of blur, and press OK. But you see, it doesn't work because the shadow is supposed to be sharp here, and as it goes away, it becomes less sharp. So how can you do that? Well, simple. Now, because it's a smart object, I got a smart filter. I got the Gaussian blur is applied as a filter. So I can take a brush, a big brush, right-click, and lower the hardness, make it very soft. To make any brush big or small in Photoshop, you just hold on Control and Option and left-click. I guess the same thing on Windows. Let me know if it's not. And now, so remember, black conceals white reveal. So if I paint in black at 100%, look what happens. I'm taking out the filter. I'm taking out the blurriness. Now I don't want to take it out completely. So oops, Command Shift Z. So what I want to do is I'm gonna take black and I'm gonna put the opacity at 20%, 23%. And now as I brush, I'm not gonna brush here. I just brush here a little bit. It's gonna make it that it's sharp here, and then it goes away and it's less sharp. I kind of like that. And then let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, it's too bright, so I'm gonna lower the opacity even more. Yeah, and then I'm gonna something like that. And then I'm gonna erase the other one because it's too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take L. I don't need this one. I'm just gonna go here, and I'm just gonna erase this one using Generate Fill. Good old Generate Fill that works so well. And without the shadow, she's gonna be like floating in the air. So you do need the shadow. Shadow is what takes the most time, to be honest. It's really what takes the most time. Okay, so no more shadow. I love what Generate Fill is doing. It's pretty good. Boom, I'm putting back the shadow. And you see it's sharp and it gets, let's look at it from far. It's pretty good. It's too strong. I want to, maybe you can also, what you can do also is create a mask here. and take a big brush. And this time you go like really low, like 10% maybe, 10%. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna brush here. You see, I'm making it more invisible here than here. And that's kind of cool. So it's like I'm making it more sharp here and there. You know, I think I'm gonna make it a bit more sharp here. No, actually it's the reverse, press X, a little more blurry here. And so it's a little sharp here, it's a, you know, and okay, that's just step one. Now we need to make another shadow, which is what I call a very close shadow. Okay, so now I'm just gonna make a little more shadow under the feet. Just a very little one, so I'm gonna add another shadow here. Take a brush, black foreground, like 87 is good. Just a little bit. You always wanna have like a little bit of shadow, a hard shadow right there where the clothes is, like just a little bit. It's gonna make her be on the ground even more. Just a little bit like that. And then you lower the opacity and it's gonna be a little bit darker than what's under. That always helps to sell that she's there. Again, I'm not a super pro. You have to look at it from far. Yeah, it looks weird. This is too much. This is too much. I'm take an eraser. Just want a little bit of hard, yeah, something like that. It's a small thing, but it makes her there even more. Yeah, you can hardly see it. Okay, but from far, I think that's gonna work well. I'm telling you, shadows is the hardest part. Okay, now I'm gonna crop this photo. I'm gonna crop this photo here and here. Voila. Not so bad. She kind of looks like to be there. And then I'm gonna go to File, Close, and it's gonna bring it back into Lightroom. And we're gonna do some more retouching in Lightroom. Okay, so I'm back in Lightroom. This was my first attempt of doing this one. But you see I did a weird shadow here. I think my shadow is actually better, the one I just did with you guys. And then what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna do like a double development. To make it less CG, I'm gonna go here and add some grains, just a little bit of grain. So you go all the way down to post-crop vignetting and just add a grain. I mean, like maybe 20 of grain, just a little bit. It's gonna make it a little less, you know, sort of looking digital. And then I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go to the develop module and just do a little bit of like, I'm gonna give it a style, like open a shadow, bring down the highlights. I think I wanna add like a big circle of light coming from the sun here. The sun is coming here. So I'm gonna make like a big shade of light like this. And come on, I want to rotate you. Yes, where is your, here's the, oh my God, today's really hard. Rotate, voila. And just add a bit of sun. So it's glowing on her. It's gonna make her more in the shot. And maybe lower the overall exposure. And you can always, you know, go in there and give it like a style. Like you can go in the color grading and add a bit of blue in the shadow and a bit of highlights. It's gonna help blend the overall photo together. And voila, I kind of like this. So we can from this to this. Now let me show you a much easier example. And again, I'm gonna challenge you to do it. This is much easier and much faster because there is absolutely no feet. So here's how I did it. This is really cool. I'm showing you a trick I learned from my good friend Joel Grimes. So that's the original shot. This one is a little bit blurry, I think. Is it blurry? No, it's not blurry. Okay, so I did the basic retouching on her, and then I go to Edit, Photoshop 2024. And on this one, on Midjourney, yeah, I was looking for a temple, and I did this temple or this temple, something like that. And so, voila. And what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna go to File, Place Embedded. So now I have the temple is here. I have so much resolution, it's still gonna be good. I'm gonna Command J to duplicate the background layer, put her over there. Okay, and same thing, so same step. Step number one, you go to Filter, Neural Filter to make the skin even better. Skin smoothing. I'm just gonna make her skin even more smooth. Okay, boom. Perfect. And then I'm going to go to my select tool here, select subject, select mask, select and mask. All right. Now, why am I not seeing the background? What did I do? Oh, because I did a copy. Okay. All right, let's go again. Select and mask. I like to see the background. Okay, now I can see the background. Perfect. Oops. Sorry. And on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to Smart Radius. I'm going to go smooth a little bit, like 20. And then I'm going to lower the shift edge. I think the hair is absolutely perfect on this one. Voila. And then go here and says to layer mask. Okay, it's very simple. And now I can position her, Command T to position her there like this. Maybe make her a little smaller, but not too much, like really well in the center. Okay, perfect. Let me take out the background. Let's crop the photo. So what am I doing? Crop tool, crop tool. Here is a crop tool. There, and again, I challenge you to do the same. And you can post and you can credit Sheena Chauhan as a model, and then you can credit me as a photographer. So one last step, and I learned this from Joelle Grimes, my good friend Joelle Grimes, is she's like, I want to make her glow inside the thing. So I'm going to add an empty layer, and I'm going to take a B for brush, take a big brush, okay? Right click, make sure it's super soft. Make sure that it's D is the, I press D so I have the default color, press X for white. Opacity 100%, and I'm going to make one big circle. Boom. Okay, but now I'm going to press Command T, and I'm going to hold on the Option key on my keyboard to go from the center, or the Alt key on Windows, and I'm going to make this glow go. Go, go, go. Look at that. And it just makes like a bit of a fog, and it makes her stand out big time. And same thing again, I'm going to close this. And same thing to make her even more in the shot. I think I'm going to try. I did it different last time. I used a special filter that I have, but I can't give that to you, so I don't want to show you. So I'm just going to do a regular radial circle, just a little circle. Boom. We're going to pretend that there is that there is some light coming from somewhere. There, over her, like this. Boom. And it's just going to blend her a little bit better in the shot, something like that. And then I'm going to go here to add a linear gradient. I think I want to darken very little the bottom, just so that it's going to blend her even better in it. And then you can go and do like a bit of a dabble, like, you know, open the shadow, bring down the highlights, black, white, to make it like, to make it pop, really pop. That's a little too much. You know, then it's your choice. Okay, that's how I just did it. That's how I did it last time. Kind of different. Voila. So let me give you an advice. I became an artist very late, actually. I started making money as a photographer at the age of 30. But the biggest successful action in life, and really there's only one advice I have to give you, as if you want to become an artist, if you want to become a photographer, try to do a personal assignment every week. What does that mean? It means you create art for yourself. You take, like, this was a project, she didn't pay me for it. I had this idea of using Midjourney and I wanted to share it with you guys. You know, I did it just for my own pleasure and to please her, you know. So that was just the idea. So try to give yourself a personal assignment, something, you know, if you're a professional photographer or, you know, if you, like, for example, when I used to work as an interior design photographer, I used to get paid from 9 to 6 to shoot hotels. But then at night, for my own pleasure, I would take photos of Paris. You got to do something artistically for your own pleasure. So I try to get more into portrait now because I've done cityscape and landscape for so long. So I'm, you know, it's kind of like the one thing I'm not really great at. And so I'm learning. As I learn stuff, I want to share it with you. Make sure you subscribe because I have some amazing video coming up. And give me a little like, give me a little love if you really like this content, you know. And I want to see what you can come up with. Make sure you tag me and that you tag Sheena Chauhan. I will see you in the next video, and the next one is going to be crazy, so make sure you subscribe.